What's up, beautiful people? Happy, wonderful Wednesday. Hey, Auntie, how you
Hey,
doing?
how you doing? Shout out to Wendy. We ain't forget about you, girlfriend. We know you still in this fight and prayers up, okay? Because
Yeah.
this on her husband, well, her ex-husband.
Mm,
Why he's suing on her behalf?
the
He's a
desperation.
vulture. He's a vulture.
The desperation. You
Yeah.
know, like I told you earlier, he's a kept man, so he got to do everything he can to remain kept. So, Kevin the Keeper. That's what we're gonna call him, Kevin the Keeper.
Having to keep it, but he need to realize when the gig is up. You know, sometimes people need to realize the gravy train is over. And then also he calling her Miss Hunter.
I mean, he been doing this for how many years? They were married what, 20, 25 years or more?
Yeah,
Like
that's all he knows.
25 years old. Who you are by the end is who you are. Ain't really too much changing in you. So yeah, he's gonna be on the struggle bus for the rest of his days. But
good God, not a senior citizen on the struggle bus. That's just embarrassing.
we're gonna juice everything out of that turnip, okay? Until it's dry.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody, welcome in the building. We appreciate you for joining us. We are here to recap Bravo's hit show. Like, in my eyes, I'm totally loving it. Next Gen NYC, and we are on episode 3, and this is Daddy Issues and Poolside Tissues. Honey,
Tissues or issues?
was it tissues or issues? I thought it was tissues because we was crying on the side.
I just said I don't know who got it wrong, me or you. I thought they both was issues. You might have it right. Tissues.
It's tissues. It's tissues.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, yeah, which we needed some tissues because it was a lot of crying at the end of this episode. Unfortunately, there was a lot of disappointment. You know, this episode we dealt with some racial issues. We dealt with some womenizing issues. We dealt with a culture that we have been built upon, for real. And you know, as we were preparing to start the show, as soon as I dropped this down backstage, it just literally dropped in my heart. Like, I want this episode for our podcast to be a learning episode. We need to learn the people on how to treat respectful, how to treat people, how to be respectful, how to honor people's feelings, and how to grow, because it was a lot going on in this episode, and we got to change some things. We got to change some things.
We do. Yeah, we'll get to it because I
was fired up. I was truly fired up with everything that happened tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to address it. So listen, we are live on both channels, everyone. Chronicles of the Gray Head Diva and Royaire's World. Make sure you hit the like button on both channels. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. And if you can do us a favor and hit that share button, let the people know we are recapping episode 3, season 1 of Next Gen NYC, Family Issues and Poolside Tissues. Anything you want to say before we get started?
No, hey Juice, hey Katrina, hey everybody. No, we could get started.
Okay, listen, let's get into this. Okay,
mm-hmm.
So we open up with Ariana. You know, we seem to be opening up with Ariana every epised. She is
the star.
Listen, she got a family to take care of what, 7? Like,
yeah. But you know what though, Royaire? She's adorable.
She's so beautiful.
Adorable.
So talent. I just love the energy and the joy that she brings. Yeah. You know, it's just it's there. So we open up with Ariana. She's waking up in her hotel room and she is just in awe of her life. She's been dreaming, as she said before, to live in NYC, and she is living the dream that she has been desiring. So they're still looking for an apartment. You know, her and Hudson together, her boyfriend. While Ariana is, talking to her boyfriend about, how everything went, Georgia is having a art show coming up, okay? And so she's texting everyone, hey, y'all, remember I got my art show tonight. Make sure you come. Well, while she's texting Charlie decides to respond and say, listen, can you leave out Ariana and her boyfriend, because I can't. I don't like them. I don't want to deal with them. They do too much, okay? Georgia says she likes Ariana. She says they aren't that bad. you know, and she goes ahead and texts Ariana and lets Ariana know, yeah, I'll be there tonight. You know, come on, support, we'll be here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we move into Brooks and Ava. They're having a FaceTime call. Brooks shares, you know, a little update from the previous night. As we all know, last episode, Riley invited all of the group out to Brooklyn. Okay, she's living out in Brooklyn, so she invited the crew out to have a little time. Yet again, we have Charlie being Charlie. And let me address this. I want to roll this back real quick. Because on the first episode of our first podcast with Next Gen NYC, I let the people know that Charlie was going to be a problem.
You did. You did. You ain't got to brag. You ain't got to brag, but you did.
And so here we are experiencing those things. So, but, you know, I just want the people to see crazy when they, you know, you got to once you recognize it. What did our girl say? When someone shows you who they are,
believe them. Yep, from the first time, believe them the first time. Yeah, child. Listen. Charlie.
So, but you know, yeah, I did. So Brooks is breaking down to Ava, you know, Charlie really wasn't feeling Ariana and Hudson. Hudson wasn't feeling Charlie and Ariana. They had a little scuffle, you know, situation outside. Hudson threatened to, you know, have a little throwdown with Hudson, or excuse me, Charlie threatened to have a little throwdown with Hudson. It was a whole situation, okay? It was a mess. And Ava is just like, oh my God, you know, Charlie's my friend. I feel like I need to go into PR mode so that we can address these constant issues that Charlie keeps bringing to the group. The bad energy. That's what I'm going to call it tonight. The bad energy, okay? So, and then I'm going to do this scene real quick as well, just to throw this in here because this is all kind of related. Ava, Charlie, and Dylan, they have a meeting over at Charlie's home. And so Ava, you know, she wants to address this whole situation with Charlie making comments about Brooks' sister, because also last episode he addressed Brooks in regards to effing his sister. Okay. And it was completely, we had already earlier addressed that night. This makes me uncomfortable. I don't like this. Please stop. He does it again. You know, Ava describes it as Charlie being drunk and just nonchalant and arrogant. Okay. You know, Charlie claims that he does it jokingly. It's just to, you know, poke fun, you know, at Brooks. You know, it's harmless. Ava lets Charlie know that Brooks doesn't think it's fun. He doesn't like confrontation. He's asked you to stop. And so Charlie says, you know, he maybe should stop. You know, so Dylan says, you know, sometimes guys need to fight. So maybe they need to fight it out. He said he fought somebody once before. You know, they got it out. They was good bros after that. I don't know what kind of guys Dylan been dealing with, but that's not how we do this, like, at all. So your thoughts on those?
Dylan is cute.
Dylan is cute. He's funny.
Yeah, he is. He's cute. So my thoughts are, you know what? I like Ariana a lot. I'm glad she's doing this show. I think she's a really good fit. And she's different than her mom. You know what I'm saying? This girl is something just so genuine and sweet about her. And I absolutely love it. And she says she loved living in the city. Okay. And her boyfriend, they're cutie pies together. I like these two. I like the way they're loving each other. I don't know how they living with them dogs in the hotel, but
and they big dogs, like,
and they big dogs, right? Yeah, that's a little different, but I guess it is what it is. When Ava first, I think you left this piece out. When Ava first got the phone call, am I too early in the scene? And she was sitting on the bench to come over, and she went over to their house.
No, you right in.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, because you know we heard in real time that Ava is homeless. So when I saw Ava sitting on the bench, I'm like, okay, so we never going to see a scene with her in her house. We're going to see her outside, and we're going to see her filming in other people's houses. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. She was on the bench. I mean, she is, right? Because she was on the bench taking that phone call. We have yet to see her in her house. Okay. But anywho, she goes over. It's Ava, it's Dylan, it's Charlie. You know, that joking And I told you, I feel like, Flip said homeless better. Oh my God. I cannot. But listen, I peeped that. Okay. I peeped that. I was like, So anyway, she goes over there. I told you I don't want this to be like the whole storyline, the whole season about this, situation. I just really don't. Brooks and his sister Chloe. Chloe's a big girl. She know how to handle herself. And besides that, Charlie never called her back to go out on another date. So let's just stop it and move on past this scene already, because I'm over it. And we only on episode number 3, and I'm over them talking about this situation. Nothing happened to your sister. Your sister didn't go to his house. It's all is well. And Charlie does need to grow up, because he's about to be 30, and him making jokes like that is not funny. But anywho.
Yeah. I agree with you. I love Ariana. I love Hudson. The FaceTime conversation. Listen, Brooks, now I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. If you're going to be messy enough to carry around all the information, I need you to be bold enough to stand up and say something when it's time now. Because here we are yet again. You carrying bones over to Ava now. First we was carrying them to Ariana. Then we was carrying them to Riley. Now we carrying them to Ava.
He got everybody fighting his battles. He got to stop.
Yeah, like.
And I like him, because he's another one. He's a cutie.
I love Brooks.
Yeah, but what we're not going to do is that.
Yeah. I also thought it was very telling that, Ava was able to point out, in the conversation with with Brooks, that Charlie can be combative and belligerent. Okay.
But you know what? When we get to it, I understand why and how he is who he is. I'm not excusing it. Yes. But when we get to certain scenes, I do understand. I understand who he is. I do.
Listen, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you're hitting that like button and sharing as we recap Next Gen NYC. So in our next scene, we have Brooks and his dad, Seth, having a little golf session together. So, Seth recognizes that Brooks has a very, very close relationship with his mom. And I think, just based off of, these are my views, my opinions, just based off of viewing the episode and kind of knowing a little bit about, Salt Lake, it seems like Seth is a little jealous, that Brooks does not have that closeness with him, and he desires that closeness. And I don't want to say jealous is not the word, but he desires to have that closeness with Brooks the way that he has with his mom. So, him and dad are having a little golf time. And so Brooks describes the golf as intensive training. His dad had him in intensive training.
Extra.
He's so extra, and I love it.
He's so extra. That was like, what?
It was golf practice, okay? But it was a lot for him. He told us that he got an award for hitting a squirrel with a golf ball. I was like, this guy is so dramatized, and I'm here for it all, okay?
He's so extra. He's so extra. Oh, my God.
So, Brooks and Seth, they talk about Brooks's boyfriend. Brooks's boyfriend's name is Cade. He lives in Austin. Well, he lives between Austin, Texas, and LA. So when he comes to the city, he is doing whatever he can to get Cade to move there. Cade and him met at the Sundance Festival. And so they danced the night away, and they shared a kiss at the end of the night. And it was just so romantic. Diva, why can't we find romantic love like that? Why we can't be out somewhere and see somebody at the corner of our eye and be like, oh, he's the one.
He's the one. All the lights go off and start ringing. I don't know. But see, you go more places than I do, Royaire. Maybe I got to start going some more places. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, Seth. Look. We are waiting patiently, Lord, anticipating, okay? Send the rain. Send the rain.
Oh, God, it's raining men.
Yes, hallelujah. So Seth asks about Brooks's sex life, and so Brooks just completely shuts down. Okay, obviously Brooks talks to his mom about his sex life, and so Seth says that he wants to have a closer relationship with Brooks. He wants to bond more. He wants to have a motherly, figure to Brooks, and so he wants to talk about Brooks's body count and who he's messing with and sleeping with and just all of this stuff. And so Brooks is just
Dad is extra too. That's why Brooks is extra.
Yes. Mama and Daddy are extra. They both extra. So it runs in the Mark's blood. Like
yeah, Dad is extra.
Speaking of body counts, Brooks now carries another bone to Dad, sharing about this whole Chloe and Charlie situation and how he made a sexual advance to Chloe, via Brooks. And so Seth's, dad felt like it was normal for people their age to be having these types of, jokingly conversations. And so Brooks has to inform Dad, Charlie's 29. And so Dad, he was like, okay, at 29, he was with 3 children and married, so he was in a little different phase of his life. But Dad says, he can always appreciate a little jokey joke here and there, the immaturity of a man. That's just sometimes how things go. So, he did offer, the extension of a conversation to Charlie. And so Brooks said, listen, I'm 24. I think I can handle it. But we'll see later on that there is a conversation between Charlie and Seth. Okay. In our next scene, we have Gia is telling Teresa that she's having a pool party on Saturday. Unfortunately, Teresa can't be there, but she's got cameras watching. They'll have pizza, they'll have drinks, they'll just have a good time. So that was their little moment together. And then we have a luncheon with Charlie, his mom, and her boyfriend. I'm gonna stop because I want to have that a personal scene to itself so we can address that. So let's talk about Gia, Teresa, and Seth and Brooks.
Okay, so Seth and Brooks, I thought that was a very cute scene. He has a really nice family, and I think that when you have parents that are just, I don't want to use the word laid back, but I like his dynamic with his parents. That's the best I can say.
They have a good relationship.
They got a good relationship. Dad is 100% dramatic, so we understand where Brooks get it from. Okay, and he said, "I'll speak to Charlie." Okay, he said, "I'll speak to Charlie," because he said, "You want me to handle it?" Brooks is like, "No, I'm 24. I need to handle it." Brooks got everybody on this show here. But anywho, he done said Ariana, he done said George, he done said everybody. And O'Reilly. Now he got Dad going to speak to Charlie about what happened with the sister and the text and all of that or whatever. I like the fact that he talked about the boyfriend and Dad was open and Dad was like, what's his body count? I thought it was just such a great conversation. I loved it. I really did enjoy that conversation. I thought it was just really cute. Other than that, Teresa and Gia, I thought that was a cute scene too. Gia is another one. She's freaking adorable, right? Just a little cutie pie. And just knowing like these are kids that we saw when they was little on the show, and to kind of see them now, but everybody seems to like this alcohol a lot. I guess because I'm not into it, it's a little bit much for me. But anyway, I like the way Mom was joking, like, I got cameras, I'm going to see y'all. And she's like, no, she's putting her party together. And you know what? For the first, even though I know others had events so far on the show, but to throw this event, and she got it all planned out, and she got pizza for them and all kind of other stuff, and she having a pool party. Bravo to Gia.
No, it was lit. No, that party was lit. No, that was a good party. No, that was a good party. Yeah, and I thought they had a good DJ too. No, that party was lit. No, that was a lit party.
I like Gia a lot, and I like the scene between Teresa and Gia, and I like the scene between Brooks and his dad. It was great scenes. I'm loving this show.
Says that Brooks gets on his nerves.
Flip, I love Brooks. Now he's like a piece
of tissue stuck on your stuck on your shoe. I can't.
Oh my God, I like Brooks. He over the top, but I like
it. But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, like I said, or I agree with you. Brooks and Seth scene was just the bond that they have, even though it's like super awkward to Seth. Like, it was so beautiful watching it. I think the fact that we're able to see that dad is spending quality time with his son, like they're doing something that they kind of are both good at, even though Brooks doesn't like it, he's good at it. That conversation, it was just like such a cute little funny scene. I totally enjoyed it. Now, I don't like the fact that dad justified his daughter being objectified. That bothered me. We need to stop this. Oh, it's just for fun, it's just a joke. Like, no, it's offensive and it's disrespectful. Like, it's not okay. But we'll address that when Charlie and him sit down together as well.
Yeah, I kind of will roll with you on that. And the reason why I'm gonna roll with you on that is because we see all that's going on now in the world. So it's like we can't take these things lightly. So I see where you're going with that.
If we're gonna change in one area, everybody got to change.
Everybody got to change, yeah.
So but so we have this luncheon with Charlie, his mom, and her boyfriend. Okay. So Charlie has not seen his mom since Mother's Day. So they come in, they greet one another. It seems like a very genuine relationship from what I could tell. It seemed genuine. They seem very connected. Charlie explains to us that his parents got divorced when he was around the age of 3. From the ages of 0 to 10, he lived with his mom. Mom was an artsy girl. She wasn't used to feeding the children at a specific time every day. She wasn't used to keeping a schedule, making sure the kids were going to school and handling, their children's business. And so it was rough for the children. So, around the age of 10, dad took custody of the kids because mom decided that it was just too much to take care of them all. And she wanted to live her art dream. So she checked out and left the kids, with dad. Charlie felt that mom was never strong enough to stand up for herself, let alone them. When issues would arise in the home and, mom would see the same issues that the children did and they went to address it, when dad would say, well, do you feel this way, mom? Oh, no, just Charlie and the kids feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. Apparently, dad is very powerful and she was afraid of what dad may do to her. So she had to always be on the side of saving herself. Also in that scene, Charlie says that, it's beautiful to see his mom happy with her boyfriend. If he was able to spend his time with him as well, he would do the same. So apparently the boyfriend and dad have a good relationship, boyfriend and Charlie have somewhat of a good relationship. Charlie does address that, his dad is just not a very nice person. And he's not going to say too much because when all of this is released, he doesn't want to get cut off. I'll stop there because I didn't write too much about Charlie because by then I was kind of pissed off with him. So I just was like, whatever to Charlie.
This scene broke my heart because it gave me insight to Charlie, right? You got a mother who checked out, who from birth to 10, you was living with the mother pretty much. Like, they broke up when it was 3. So all of y'all was together up until 3. And then from 3 to 10, you live with mom, but mom was checked out. And then you got a dad who, yes, he provided financially and you lived a good life, but dad was checked out in his own way too. So you get an insight, if you ask me, as to who Charlie is and why he is the way that he is, right? It was sad to me. That scene broke my heart. When I first saw him, I said to myself, he won, and I don't know why, because he was not my type.
You said he was the one, but you didn't know why, because he wasn't your type. But you know what? And sorry to interrupt you, but I was looking at a social media earlier today. In this video, this girl said that we got to stop looking for our type because a lot of the time our type is not the one that we're supposed to be with. And I said, ooh.
Yeah, I heard that before, but you know what? I've been with my type, not my type, in the envy zone.
I can attest to that too. So yeah, you're right. You're right. I can attest to that. I can attest to that.
And the end result is still the same. So prayers up for me. But you know what though? I felt for Charlie because it's the polar opposite of the relationship that Brooks has with his mother and his father. Yes. And I mean, it is the exact opposite. Complete. You got a mother who was checked out. Listen, when we have these kids, you got to dedicate your life to your kids. It is what it is. I mean, we wanted to have them. You brought these kids here to give them a fair chance to, you know, grow up and be healthy in this world. And listen, you only got to dedicate 18 years to them, and the years fly by.
And the better part of your life, the better part of it. Not the don't give them the trash that you got. Do better.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel for children who parents, you know, check out on them, so to speak. And you know, it's like, oh, I got to live my life too, and this, that, and the other. Well, why did you have me? Like, why did you have me if you wasn't going to love and protect me and to make sure that I grew up a healthy person? Because like I said, you got 18 years. Just do what you got to do for the 18 years. I don't know. This scene really broke my heart. I don't excuse any of his behavior, but I am saying I do understand why he is who he is. And I also will say, thank God he's not worse. Because you literally had a mother who checked out and she was like, oh, you was like, you'll make me a sandwich. No, you the mother. Who's supposed to be cooking for these kids? I was like, this is wild. This is wild. And you can tell he went through something because the picture she saved. Then why would you show that to him?
Yes. Like blood everywhere. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, it definitely, it carved a little compassion in my heart for Charlie. And I, like you said, I can completely understand why he is the way he is, but at what point do we recognize, okay, we are who we are, but we got to change for the better? Like that's where my issue.
That's the hard part about life, where everybody doesn't know how to heal themselves, and everybody don't necessarily get to the right doctor that can heal them. Look at Justin Bieber right now. He said the other day, he did a whole post. He said, don't y'all think I know I got a problem? And if I knew how to fix it, I would have fixed it already. And you know, Justin Bieber has gone, he has friended religious leaders. It's like, you know, I feel for celebrities because they run into a lot of people that just straight take advantage of them. They don't give a darn about them. And I'm talking doctors. Listen, if you go to a doctor and he's ripping you off, that's a sad day in the neighborhood. And if you go to a religious person and they're ripping you off, that's a super sad day in the neighborhood. So it's just extremely, extremely sad when you go to seek help and the people you're going to seek help from take advantage of you. So now you're double victimized. It's just sad to me. So you know, he doesn't like you when you got a father like that where he'll provide for you financially, but he's removed from, you know, just being there for you emotionally. It's sad. Yeah,
it was really, really sad. I was just like, I don't like this at all. Amy J is asking which one is Charlie. Charlie is this gentleman right here where my mouse is. This is Charlie for those of you.
Yeah, and he's the one that him and Ava are friends, and we'll get to that. He's messy. He's very messy, but he's messy because he's a damaged person.
Yeah. So we have a scene over at Brooks's apartment. Brooks has invited Shy and Riley over. So as we have been told at the beginning of this, Brooks has his own clothing line, okay? He designs clothes, he makes clothes, and so Brooks has a new sewing machine that he just can't seem to figure out how to work, okay? He can't seem to figure out how to get it together, how to get it off the ground, because he wants to do more clothes. You know, he has already had his first runway show, but apparently it was only one piece. Okay. So listen, it was.
That's when you know you got money, Roy. When you can do a fashion show with one item, a
fashion show with one piece. What are we rating it? It's not dreadful, but it's
I guess you got to start somewhere.
Listen.
They was like, is it one sweatsuit? He had one sweatsuit.
He was proud of that sweatsuit, okay? He was proud hard.
Yes, he was.
So Shy comes over. He helps to set up the machine. Shy is introduced to us via Dylan. That is how he is brought into the group, which is Charlie's roommate. He shares with us that he does work full time, but he loves fashion and he loves creating. His pants and his confessional were made from some drapes that his mom came and dropped off. He ripped the drapes down off the curtain and made some pants out of them, okay? So I said, shout out to the creativity. Listen, I love it. Our people are creative, okay? So, he helps Brooks get this little machine going. He puts the sewing on there and they get everything going. Well, Riley shows up in the midst of that. And so, everybody seems to really, really be very joyous when Riley comes around. Yeah. Shy literally lit up, he got excited. Brooks is, just being Brooks as normal. So it was such a moment. Brooks is still on his parents' phone plan, okay? And so he says, well, once I get off, I feel like I'll be officially adulting, okay? Shy feels he's trying to get away from phones altogether because if you don't have a phone, then you don't have a phone bill. So I was like...
Was that not cute? I said, oh,
so funny. I said, these kids are hilarious. Like, okay.
Hilarious.
So, Riley shares that Georgia lost her phone last night, at the art gallery that she produced. And so Dylan, and Charlie, they came to the after party. Now, I thought it was very interesting that we did not see Georgia's friend, Charlie, at the art show. Did you see him at the art show?
I did not.
Okay.
But did we miss him?
Well, I noticed that he showed up to the after party.
Yeah, I don't know. Charlie.
So he showed up to the after party with Dylan. Charlie did apologize to Ariana and Hudson at the after party that night. They did make amends between the two of them. So they seem to be on good footing at this point. Ariana and Hudson and Brooks, they left at 11 o'clock. Charlie and Dylan, they met up with some girls and left Georgia to hang with Riley. Now, Georgia is 7 glasses in on the wine bottle, okay? So she done pretty much had a full bottle of wine. And so she has no cell phone because she lost her phone. And Riley is trying to call Charlie because they done left Georgia behind. So now she got to escort Georgia to wherever she needs to be. It was a mess, okay? So Brooks had to, and Riley updated Shy on all of that stuff that had happened, okay? So we lead into this Seth and Charlie meetup, okay? Now, Seth is Brooks' dad, for those of y'all who are just joining us. Charlie really did not want to have a meeting with Seth because he knew the inappropriate things that he said about his daughter, and what man would want to meet with their friend's father about inappropriate things that they said? Nobody. But here we go. Charlie shows up to this event hungover, or to this luncheon hungover. He says he's got a hangover. He isn't feeling well. Seth, shares that he's got 3 children and he's always wanted to be a mentor to someone outside of his kids. Seth, is called the Boys and Girls Club. Go volunteer your time. If you really want to be a mentor to somebody, use your mentoring on somebody that can actually use it. But based on the advice that you was giving out today, I don't know if you need to be down there because it was reckless. So Charlie, he's trying to recover from this hangover. And, Seth brings up that he knows that him and his daughter have gone out, once before. Charlie said, yeah, we went out, we hung out, we had a good time, and so Seth brings up that there was a conversation with Brooks about, possibly trying to screw his daughter. And so Seth said, listen, I just want to have a conversation with you. I just want to know, is it you trying to add a body count? Are you trying to actually date my daughter? Like, what we got going on here? And so Charlie said, it was very uncomfortable to have this conversation, but they just met up one time. It was, a little date situation. Nothing happened. It was all good. He was joking with Charlie about some things. And so Seth said, well, it sounded like you were objectifying Chloe. And Charlie said, well, I don't know what I said. Well, I do remember what I said. I did kind of objectify her, yeah. And so Seth pretty much said, don't worry about it because I say dumb stuff too. And I understand. So we're going to let this go. We're going to move on. I'll talk to Brooks and let him know everything is good. It's all good. No problems, no worries. And so he said, Charlie was like, cool, let's sit back and chill, Seth grabbed a beer. They enjoyed each other's company as we validated that it was okay for us to objectify your daughter. You're okay with it, Seth. You just gonna talk to Charlie and let him know, hey, don't worry about it. She's just your sister. She can sleep with anybody. Your thoughts on those two scenes? Because next up we have the trip to Jersey.
Okay, so Brooks, Riley, and Shy, I thought that was a cute scene. Him showing him how to use the soul machine or whatever the case may be. Them just chatting it up and talking. I love the fact that Riley's on this show. I love to be honest with you, I love the mix of the whole group. I'm liking this show a lot, right? I think it, is going well. So it's not much more I could really say with that scene besides that it was a cute scene. So it was what it was. This whole art gallery thing, I'm not quite sure what Georgia doesn't do, or what that whole thing was about. And, the groups all meeting up and then the after party and then the losing of the phone. But that telling us about this, and Georgia seems to have a little thing with the alcohol. But anywho, listen, but that whole scene, it was important for the simple fact of what happened at it that we're going to find out later when we do the Jersey scene. Because other than that, I was like, we could have did without that scene, but we needed to know about that scene for that particular reason. Now, Brooks' dad meeting up with Charlie. Again, it was an interesting scene. I like Seth. Charlie is Charlie. And, I want to see how this thing ends up, the whole season at the end with Charlie. Because like I said, I only pulled back and lightened up a little bit on him because I see the dynamics of how he grew up, and it's pretty sad to me, right? So, but that scene, Seth, he's a whole character. But now we can understand why Brooks is a whole character. Because Daddy's a whole character, okay? So, it is what it is. Other than that, I mean, there's not much more I could say about that scene with, those two particular scenes.
Yeah. I think what Georgia does is I feel like she's kind of like a party planner, if you may. She kind of puts together things and events and what would you like how clubs be hiring like hostess and stuff, like how they hire Nene and all of them. But I feel like she's just a little bit more involved in it than what Nene and them would normally be in. But yeah, Georgia's a lush. She likes her drinks. But I think when she becomes a lush, I believe she speaks the truth. She says it like she means it.
Yeah.
Shout it out.
Say it like you mean it, child. You crazy.
But yeah, and then this scene with Seth and Charlie, I just like that conversation, Diva, is the reason that we live in the climate that we live in today. And this is why, the downfall of men is really happening. And in my personal opinion, I'm here for it. Men have been the problem since the beginning of time. I mean, the way that they objectify women, the way that they disrespect women, the way that they disrespect people who, another man that they don't see as a man of what they feel a man should be and things like that. Men have been the downfall of time, in my opinion. And it's about time that they start paying for the things that they do. It's just utterly ridiculous that he had this conversation, that Seth had this conversation with Charlie and did not address the real issues behind it. This is why we have the Me Too movement going on. This is why we have people like Trump in office, someone who has been convicted as a, for SA. Yeah. It's crazy. And so for him to sit and justify what Charlie did by saying, "Oh, we're just boys and it's okay to objectify women," it just really put a bad taste in my mouth. It really, really did. And I hope that people have this conversation and let him know that this is inappropriate. Meredith, the way you be going off on them girls on Salt Lake City, this is how I need you to go off on your husband. That he doesn't respect you or your daughter. This was shameful. It was so shameful. And I was totally disappointed. Totally.
Yeah, it was messy.
Brooke is the next one in the making, out here harassing females, making them uncomfortable, objectifying them, putting them in uncomfortable situations, forcing them to do things that they really don't want to do.
Well,
so we head on to the Jersey trip, okay? Now, how you live? Yeah, how far is Jersey from NYC? What's that ride?
It could be where Gia lives. It's not that far.
Okay.
She lives at the tip. She lives at the like very North Jersey. They live in a very prestigious area in Jersey. Okay. It's not that far. Matter of fact, by the time you cross the bridge, you're probably 2 seconds from my house.
Okay. So, we're headed as a full cast. This is our cast group meetup. We are headed up to Jersey for the poolside party and pizza, okay? So Gia is at home. She's cleaning up, making sure everything is ready for the guests. She's setting up. She's got her crew with her, getting everything together. While she's setting up, the crew is getting loaded up on the van that they have, or the bus that they have. It seems like everybody was here. We had Riley, Charlie, Brooks, his sister Chloe was here for this event as well. Ava, Hudson, and Ariana. I mean,
everybody.
The whole cast. So this was a lot of people. And it seemed like to be, it was going to be a great time from the start of it, okay? So as the cast is loading up, we're on the bus, we're kikiing, having a fun time, and so a question comes up from Shia, okay? Shia says, who's most likely to ditch you at a club? Okay. Shout out to Shia.
I say, here we go. I say, here we go, Royaire. I say, here we go. Here we go.
He stirred that up real good. And so everyone agreed that it was Charlie and everyone laughs. It was a nice little joking moment, or it seemed to be a nice starting off joking moment. Charlie denied it, and then Riley said, well, you did. And so he said, I told Dylan to let y'all know that we were heading out. Riley says she never received that message. She never got that information at all. All she knows, she looks up and they were gone with young ladies because they all clicked up with some ladies, okay? So they're having their time. Charlie then accuses Riley of confronting the young ladies that his friends that he was with, and says that she walked up and said, are you going to introduce yourselves? Are you going to say something to me? Riley immediately denies it and said, the lies. That is not what happened. That is not what I said. And so Bravo gives us a flashback, because what you're not going to do is let Candy Burr's daughter look bad, okay? That's what we're not going to do on this good old screen. They give us a flashback, and Riley, she walks over and says, hi, I'm Riley. I just wanted to introduce you guys to to me. You guys came over and you didn't tell me what you guys' name was, so I just was trying to make conversation pretty much. And so Charlie said that Riley had an attitude. And so when he was talking as if he was reenacting what Riley was doing, he pointed his finger and rolling his neck and doing these microaggressions that they accuse women of color, of Black color specifically, quote unquote, being on a regular basis and doing in our everyday lives. And he said that you handled the girls in a rough, or no, that the girls handled it very well. Georgia then stood up and said, the girls never said anything the whole night. It was rude. They were rude. They came in our section. It was odd and it was off. It was disrespectful. So at this point now, Georgia is vouching for what Riley is saying about Charlie and his friends that came over. Riley said, you know, you were trying to make it seem like we were in two different groups and we were one big group together. Charlie says, well, Riley didn't introduce herself either. She was accosting the girls. And so I had to address this accosting, because accosting means to approach and address someone boldly or aggressively. There was nothing aggressive. And if you have watched the show with us, and if you haven't, go back and catch it. Really good episode. Riley never aggressively came to the young lady. She came over. Hi, my name is Riley. You know, just coming over to speak. There was nothing accosting about what Riley did. Riley began to then break down in tears. Not because she wanted to cry, but in the words of Candy, it's because I can't do up right now, okay? She wanted to put her paws on Charlie. Because then she would be aggressive and wrong and unapproachable and scary. She couldn't do those things. So she has to let out her emotions by crying. And unfortunately, some people take that as weakness, but Riley ain't weak. Let me just say that. Let's make that very clear. Charlie then said, well, let me address and say this is not a racial issue. I wasn't trying to do that. I just feel like this conversation is a little extra. And so Ava finally decided to speak up and say, well, I don't think you're understanding the things that you are doing and saying are microaggressions. It's rude, it's hurting her feelings, and it's disrespectful, and it's offended. Riley then, you know, tried to vent and, you know, let Georgia know that she did the same thing when the whole hand sanitizer or hand washing situation came up. She said that Riley was being scary, you know, and kind of aggressive and forceful to her. And Georgia said, listen, you know, we got over that. We've moved on. I don't think that about you. So at least Georgia tried to address and fix the issues. I never heard an apology out of Charlie. Did you on the bus? Okay. Riley said, you know, Charlie then tried to say these were young girls. And so Riley said these was not little girls. These girls were probably older than me. They should have more manners and respect. Riley said, you feel because I'm taller, I'm scarier, and it's disrespectful. Charlie said, I never said that. And Charlie, what we need you to understand is it's not what you say specific, or it is what you say specifically. It's not the actual words of saying aggressive and scary and all of those things. It's the other words that you use and the tone that you use them in and how you address the situations. That is the problem. At this point, we done arrived at Gia's home. And so Charlie is like, listen, y'all, let's just not talk about this because I don't need Gia being mad at me as well. So now he's trying to gain sympathy from others to make it seem like that he's not the problem. We get to Gia's home. You know, she welcomes everybody in. Ariana and Hudson, they needed to do some laundry, so she used their laundry, you know. Gia offered that, which I thought was very nice of her to do. That was super cool. She came in there and helped them out with that. You know, this situation was just so out of pocket, they done drove Riley to drink. Riley needed a margarita immediately as soon as she got to the back, okay? Riley then called Candy, and she had to let Mom know what was going on. And Candy wasn't having it, okay? Candy pretty much said, you're going to have to teach him how to be around Black women and how to respect us. You're the one to teach it, stand on it. Period, point blank. I love the way that Candy supported Riley in that situation. You know, Brooks went to go see the sidekick. And so the sidekick said she got a little word for Charlie and she would love to sit down and have a conversation with him. Charlie, you know, eventually found his way over to Riley to apologize, and he apologized. And Riley let him know, you know, I don't want you to apologize. I need you to understand what happened. I need you to know that what you said offended me. And I don't need you to defend yourself. I need you to listen to what I'm saying and care about what I'm saying and actually work on being better from what I'm saying. Okay. Shout out to Riley, to Blue, Ariana's dog, because he came over to be there with Riley because the dog knew Charlie was on some mess and BS. Foolishness. Well, while everybody's having a good time and partying and doing their thing, Charlie is having a little sit down with Cooper in Georgia. And he decides, Georgia asks, did you apologize to Riley? And he said, well, first of all, I apologize on the bus. Let's address that. But I did. And she said, well, did you really apologize? Because I know sometimes you apologize and you don't mean it. He was like, I didn't mean it. I said it to appease her so that we can move on. What's wrong with me apologizing to appeasing people? Why do I have to mean it? These are my feelings and I can feel how I want to feel. Cooper was so outdone. He said, well, don't say that. Cooper even knew that this was out of pocket. Cooper knew it was so out of pocket that he had to then go tell Ava, her friend, who's friends with Charlie, that Charlie didn't mean the apology. And he said it just to appease Riley. Riley then had to go Ava then had to go sit down with Riley and Shy, who started all of this, and let Riley know what was said. Well, to wrap this thing up, by the end of the night, Charlie was addressing Riley about, are we going to move past this? Are we good? Riley says, yeah, we're good. She gets up and walks away. Ava then gets mad at Charlie. Charlie tries to address Riley again about saying, we're good. You said we were good. Aren't you going to stand on your word? How dare you try to check somebody about standing on their word and you didn't even mean the fake apology that you gave?
Woo, child.
So Charlie did his best Karen and got upset. Riley tried to stop him and have a conversation with him, but he said, no, I got to go. He runs out the house to go wait for his Uber. Your thoughts on all of that, Diva? I know that was a lot, so just...
No, it's okay. It's okay. So I felt so bad for Riley on the bus. I really did, because it's like she's tall. She's the only, Ava's black, but Ava, can pass and blend. Like she's the black girl in the group. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It's like they are, every time they describe her doing something, it's scary, it's aggressive, it's this, it's that. And and I understood where she was coming from, because a lot of times with us black girls, we could say the same thing to somebody else and our message is aggressive. You're like, what? Like, I did this as soft as pink as I could, but it's aggressive. But you could say whatever to me and it's not, what I'm saying? It's just regular. I understood exactly where she was coming from, and I felt so bad for her, because she was just like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of y'all doing that. Like, because of the hand washing, I'm scary. This, I aggressive. I was aggressive with them when I went over and asked, them to send my name or whatever. So I felt so bad for her, but I felt like she also handled it very well. She got emotional, but she handled it as well as she could on the bus. I was expecting Ariana. I know they just kind of got back, together, whatever. But I was expecting like Ariana, somebody to, to get up and like hug her or really comfort her. So I don't know. I just was like, I just didn't like that whole bus scene at all. Like, it was horrific to me. So then when they got off and he apologized, I mean, it wasn't no heartfelt apology to begin with, but then to go tell someone that, he didn't mean it, he just said it to be saying it, I was like, that is just god awful. Just god awful. But to come out off of that scene for a minute, Gia did an amazing job for her first, but you know what though? She learned from the best. Teresa know how to do some stuff up in the house.
For a party.
The fresh pizza, and they was making the mozzarella cheese. And that you didn't buy from the store. You didn't buy from the store and was unpacking it. They literally made the cheese there. I thought it was such a beautiful setup. I thought it was an amazing scene. Gia gets an A+ to be that young. And and she did the darn thing. She hosted that party, and her boyfriend was there. I really, outside of that would happen, I thought it was such a good little event and little get together, because she really did her thing. But it was sad. Yeah. Oh, I know that was hysterical, but again, it speaks to Gia like being so nice and understanding, and wasn't on the side, because if this was a Real Housewives thing, they would have been on the side shading Ariana. But for Gia to offer that and do that, because New York is so expensive, to wash your clothes and do whatever, I thought that was nice. Now listen, well, her mama's home, Amy J. Her mama's home. Gia's mama home is beautiful. That's
Gia's gonna be locked up like her mama and daddy if she thinks she's not gonna pay taxes in Jersey, honey.
Child. And, no, what she was trying to say is that in Jersey we don't pay taxes on clothes and stuff.
Right, but property tax, honey, you got to pay that.
The property tax is nasty. The property taxes are nasty, but we don't pay taxes on our clothes and stuff. But and listen, bringing the dogs. So Gia was a good host because she let the dogs come, all of that. So, and you let her wash her clothes. Yeah, I didn't like Charlie. I didn't like Charlie in this. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, this is nasty.
Yeah, I want to, I agree with you, and I want to address as well the fact that nobody comforted Riley on the bus. Like, nobody's, really spoke up and said anything. Nobody really stopped the foolishness. Nobody tried to make, and I think, especially Ariana, growing up, on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, being around a lot, growing up in Georgia, I just felt like that there should have been some kind of stand-up. You've known Riley since a child. You know how she, y'all have had a relationship before, so that Riley is not this person that Brooks is that Charlie is describing. I don't feel that Ava did enough either. As
she did, right?
Community, you did not do enough at all on the bus or off the bus,
right?
It really hurt me that nobody stood up for Riley, especially knowing the climate that we in. Brooks as well, though he was comforting Riley when he was, when she was talking to her mom and on the phone. I feel like as a gay man, the things that people say about us, the discriminations that we experience as gay men. So I felt, and though you don't, like confrontation, there are some times where you just got to stand up and take the risk of what it is. If you're a quote unquote friend that you say that you are to be to Riley.
Agreed.
It was just atrocious from everyone. It was atrocious. But I do respect the fact that they did go back and tell Riley that he didn't mean his apology. I do respect the fact that Riley is willing to stand on business, not to deal with this individual, and to let them know that I'm here to stay, and you're going to put up with me no matter what. But overall, this was just really, really, it was diabolical. It was really diabolical, the foolishness that Charlie said. And I feel, and these are just my feelings, that Charlie is aware of what he does.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it even more sad. It would be one thing if he was unaware, but for you to say, I apologize to appease her, as if she was just some peasant in your kingdom and you just wanted to get her out of your face.
Messy booze.
I didn't see this article. Did you hear the rumors that Gia was let go from the show?
I did not. Well, why was she let go?
I was scrolling on, I don't know where I was scrolling at, and they did say, the post that I seen said that Andy let her go from the show is what I seen. And that's why I just kind of scrolled past. I was like, oh, whatever, I didn't think anything of it. But now that you're saying this, thanks, Lynette.
Well, let's go to a page and see. We see. Oh. Gia explains why she's hesitant to move to NYC. Maybe because she didn't move. No, I see this, but I don't know. Gia Giudice banned from appearing on Next NYC talk show. We gotta look into this.
Yeah.
Well, why would she be banned?
Yeah, I don't know.
I see something that says that on but it's a July, it's a June 3rd article.
Okay.
Let me share. Yeah, why would they do that? I think that's what I want to share.
Can you pull it up?
Oh, okay. I put it add to stage.
Okay.
All right. So Gia Giudice banned from appearing on Next Gen NYC talk show in New York next week. Sudden cancellation leaves the people wondering she was quietly eliminated. The drama surrounding Gia Giudice's appearance on the Next Gen series continues to escalate as an exclusive source confirms she was removed from the official guest list for the talk show in New York next week. Or maybe they was going on a talk show. This was supposed to be a large-scale media event to introduce Bravo's new generation of the young cast members to audiences and the press in the East Coast. Gia's absence, who was expected to be the face of the next generation of Real Housewives of New Jersey, immediately caused a wave of intense discussion on social media, especially when the reason for the cancellation was not officially announced by Bravo. According to a source close to the event's organizers, the decision was made less than 48 hours after the emergency meeting between Bravo representatives and senior media managers. The sensitive factors related to the school scandal that is shimmering around Gia Giudice's name are said to be the main reason why the program's coordinator requested that she be removed from all live media appearances. There are too many image risks while everything has not been clearly resolved from the scandal from the scandal at the old school. A member of Bravo's what scandal?
What scandal?
On social media, next is reactions of Bravo's audience was immediately divided into two distinct factions. While a group of loyal fans defended Gia, saying this was an act of playing dirty to eliminate the next generation of the Giudice family, the rest agreed with the station's decision. A television career is not something that is inherited. If there's a scandal, it should be removed from the spotlight before it damages the Bravo brand in general. So we gotta see what scandal she was allegedly involved in. What makes it even more suspicious is that the promotional content featuring Gia has been quietly removed from the entire official fan page of the show in the past 24 hours, while the remaining cast members continue to appear in the new poster campaign. Some entertainment bloggers who follow Bravo have even confirmed that this is a soft removal. This is being removed from the project without public announcement to avoid a negative wave from Teresa Giudice fans. As for Gia, she remained completely silent on all social media platforms, not updating any movement since the talk show schedule was canceled. Teresa Giudice has also not commented, despite reportedly participating in tense and nearly hour-long phone calls with Next Gen NYC producers earlier this week. While Bravo has yet to make an official statement regarding Gia Giudice's status on Next Gen NYC, insiders say this could be the first step in the process of removing her from the main cast, a decision that has been described as painful but necessary to protect the future of the franchise expansion in New York. Given the current state of affairs, it's likely that Gia will leave quietly, just as she just disappeared from next week's schedule.
Yeah, I was sitting here trying to look and see if I see any kind of rumors about a school situation or anything. I don't see anything.
They saying Gia Giudice's daughter of Teresa was advised by Andy Cohen to temporarily withdraw from the cast of the show.
I told you it was something with Andy. I did see that earlier.
But what could be so bad? What could have been so bad that she did?
I don't know. We got to look into this and come back next week with
we have to. Okay, let's stop sharing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Woo-wee.
Oh, in a plagiarism plagiarism scandal at Rutgers University. So they're trying to say she plagiarized something. According to multiple insiders, the recommendation was delivered. That's a shame over she plagiarized something. I mean, I know plagiarism is serious, but I mean, people have done worse and they stayed on these shows. They going to jail and was still on the show. Like, because she plagiarized something? This is crazy. According to multiple insiders, wait, let me go back up so you can see what I saw. So right here, it says, was recently advised by Andy Cohen's host a temporary step back from the show amid mounting internal concerns over her growing involvement in a plagiarism scandal at Rutgers University. Because she plagiarized something? I mean, I do know that's serious, but come on. People have robbed, stole. Erica Jane's husband is in jail now and for stealing these people money, and she's still on the show. According to multiple insiders, the recommendation was delivered discreetly during a private court earlier this spring, just weeks after allegations emerged accusing Gia of submitting multiple university essays that were allegedly ghostwritten. While Bravo has yet to make any public statement regarding the controversy, an internal memo circulated around senior production staff expressed serious worry that Gia's continued presence, especially as a secondary friend of Ro, gaining increased screen time, could damage the public image of the Real Housewives of New Jersey franchise, which is already balancing years of familiar feuds, legal entanglements, and shifting cast dynamics. Andy didn't force her to leave, said a Bravo executive who requested anonymity, but he was very clear that stepping away could save her from a storm she's not ready to weather. It wasn't about punishing her. It's about shielding both her and the brand. The source also emphasized that Bravo had no appetite to publicly address an academic scandal tied to a cast member's child, especially given the network's recent efforts to distance its franchises from real-world legal controversies.
Brittany messed it up for everybody.
We are now a college upperclassman. I didn't even know she was going to Rutgers. Had been gradually integrated into Roni's Real Housewives of New Jersey in recent seasons. Not only as Teresa's daughter, but as a young adult voice navigating a legacy both privileged and controversial. Her presence has drawn admiration from some fans and for her poise and maturity, particularly following her father Joe Giudice's deportation and her mother's prison sentence nearly a decade ago. But the recent accusations, quietly managed by Rutgers Academic Review Board and further amplified by a now deleted Reddit post, appear to have forced Bravo's hand. You know what's sad though? As a celebrity, you got to call her celebrity, right? Because she grew up on TV. Mm-hmm. She should have known better than to be submitting essays because everybody is going to be looking at her and hating on her. Her
parents was in legal trouble before she went to college, right?
Huh?
Her parents were in legal trouble before she went to college, right? Yeah. So she ought to have known.
Yeah, she should have known. She should have known. I feel for her. I really do.
If you do the time, no, you got to do the time. Listen, you can't hold some accountable and not the rest. So sorry, Giva.
Oh, that's that. Okay, so that I'm gonna miss Gia. She's a cutie pie, and I think that pool party scene was everything. And listen, not too many of them have places to go. You can't go gather at their house because in New York, you got these $1 million apartments and there is no room. So y'all done kicked off Gia that had the space.
Yeah, I mean, I never watched Housewives of New Jersey, so I don't know Gia like that. And it ain't like she was bringing really too much to the show so far anyway. So it is what it is for me.
Oh, damn.
But that has been our recap. Go ahead.
God, Gia, good God.
Her letter has been stamped denied.
Oh,
well, that has been our recap of season 1, episode 3 of Next Gen NYC, Family Issues and Poolside Tissues. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. Listen, we appreciate when you leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and we appreciate when you rate our episodes. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you can rate this episode, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, leave your thoughts and opinions down below, and we will read those just a moment. Auntie, your final thoughts on this episode?
You know what? I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. Yeah, K-Mocha, I'm rolling with you. I thought it was a good episode. I thought real life stuff happened. I liked the way Riley addressed her moment. And Candy don't play them games. Candy was on that phone like, no, you gotta let them know. You gotta this because she probably was told her later, like, this reality TV, honey. You gotta stand up for yourself or they will walk all over you. I like the pool party that Gia gave and made the pizza and all of that. So, I thought it was a good episode. And I like the moment between, Brooks and his dad. I thought it was a good episode. It was.
Yeah.
I like
this episode. It was a 9 for me. It was a huge 9. They kept me entertained the whole episode. I am really enjoying the main players on this cast. And when I say main players, Ariana, Hudson, Riley, Brooks, like, they are giving me television and I am totally enjoying it. So it was a 9 for me. I'm glad that though it is a hard conversation, I'm glad that we're addressing the issues of respecting not just Black women, but women, of color, women all together. We have to have a deeper respect for our women. Like I said, it was just very disappointing to hear the things that Seth said, about being okay to objectify women and joking about it. It's not okay. But overall, this episode was a 9. I really, really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah.
K-Mocha is giving it an 8. Sass K is giving it an 8. Amy is giving it a 10. Okay, Amy, yes. Appreciate y'all. Well, that has been our recap for this week of Next Gen NYC. Make sure you tune in next week on Tuesday on Bravo for the new episode, and then Wednesday on Peacock. And then join us next week as well, as we will be recapping episode 4. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to Chronicles of the Gray Head Diva and Royaire's World. Join Diva tonight for trending topics. Ooh, girl.
What?
Tyler Perry and his $26 million lawsuit.
No, that man won 250 million.
250 million, okay.
Here's the thing. Tyler Perry is in his 50s. And if you in your 50s and you want to still play this text game with people, then shame on you. Shame on you. You may be able to accuse me of something, but guess what? You ain't going to have no receipts.
Oh, my God.
You ain't gonna have no receipts. You're not gonna have no text messages from me. You're not going to be able to record me on the phone because I say very little. We ain't doing all that. I'm not doing. I'll see you when I see you face to face. And what's that Mariah Carey song? Like, if I see you, I'm gonna treat you like a Wendy interview. If you try to be filming me and all of that, no, we ain't doing all of that.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Okay. Leave that phone on the side in the back room. I don't care what you do with that phone, but I'm not playing these games with you.
Girl, I was just
like, boyfriend got receipts for days. I think he got receipts from the time he first said hello to Tyler Perry. And then Tyler Perry tried to play some gospel song acting like he not worried. No, sir, you shook.
I'm sorry.
You shook. I'm not stupid. You're bothered. You're bothered because your business is all out in Front Street. Because you can't come out and say that's not your phone. It remind me of the Real Housewives of Potomac, where Monique had her body. She said that got his number here: 732-678-989. And he turned to Giselle. He was like, she said, yeah, that's his number. Yeah, well, that's your number, Tyler. This man got all the good bit. And in one of the text messages, he shows a photo that Tyler Perry sent him of himself. So, Tyler, you can play all the gospel you want. This is you. You did it, sir.
Well, let me ask you this. Be it public figure or not, are people required to openly be or express their sexuality? Is that a requirement, you feel?
No. It's not a requirement, but if you want to put in our face that you are heterosexual, right, and you don't do X, Y, Z, you put it in our face. We didn't ask you. So you should have never put nothing in our face. You put in our face that you was a heterosexual, and you know, every time somebody asked you about your sexuality, you denied it to the 10th power. And then in the text, you told that man, I have sex with men all the time. That's what he said. That's what he said in the text. Okay. So you don't we ain't playing these games with you, Tyler. That's what Tyler Perry said in the text.
He said it. He said it.
And that man won 200. He won more than Cassie. Now, come on now. Cassie got beat down for 10 years.
And he don't need nothing. Like, sir, what are you suing for? Like, you knew what you was getting into. You knew you wanted this man for his money. You wanted a role. You wanted to be in the industry. And we're just...
I don't know what he wanted, but you know what, though? I will say this, Royaire. When you first met him, you knew he wanted you. And then you still went to his house. That part, you stayed around. And you still went to his house. Then you're going to talk about he touched my butt. I'm sorry.
He choked me and told me I liked it.
Sir, we're not doing this with you not today. We not. No, we not. And then the messages.
It was mixed messages.
It was mixed messages.
Yes.
It was mixed messages. I'm not engaging with you. If I already know you want me and I don't want you, I'm not engaging with you.
Nothing else to talk about.
There's nothing else to talk about.
You can't give me a job.
He's horny.
You can't give me nothing. No card. No, I don't need nothing from you.
Yeah. This man telling you he horny and you still having a conversation with him? You know what? I'm sick of these people wanting to rewrite history. You didn't say no. Now you want us to say yes to $250 million. I mean, like, this is stupid. Like, it's stupid. And yeah, did something happen to you? I'm sure something did. But why did you keep walking into the lion's den and thinking it was going to be a different result?
And at some point, you was down with it.
That part. The man kept flirting with you all day long, and then going to tell you, okay, well, he pretty much told her, well, if you ain't trying to get with me, then I guess I have to look at my 600 numbers I got here and move on to somebody else. And you should have said right then and there, you should. And please text them from now on.
And delete my number. Block
that part. But you didn't. Okay.
So here's a little taste of trending topics. So make sure you join Diva tonight around 8:39 for some trending topics. Well, we appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining us. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Shout out to the Rewatch crew. We appreciate y'all. Anything else?
That's it.
We'll see you next Monday for our recap of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Love and appreciate you. See you later. Good night and goodbye.
Good night, goodbye, y'all.
Royaire's World.